Hey you guys, it's Peter, and welcome to my channel, Peter Watches TV, where I watch all the TV shows, and then I come over here and I react to them. And today I want to talk about this week's episode of POLYFAMILY. The reason why I'm laughing is because, oh my gosh, I was sitting here getting my camera set up and, pulling up my notes and everything like this, and I was like, I'm going to be 53 next month. And I was thinking back on when I was 40 and when I was 30, I was like, if you had told me at even at 40, if you had told me 12 years from now, your day is going to consist of late at night watching this TLC show about this polyamorous closed quad family, okay, and how wackadoodle they are. But not only that, you're going to be taking extensive notes, okay, like this. And I'm not laughing when I watch this show. I'm very like this. I'm very serious. And then the next day, you're going to turn around and you're going to read said notes on making a video. It just is it's so crazy to me, but I love every minute of this. I love this channel so much. I'm having so much fun over here, and I just want to say, thank you guys so much. All of you out there that are watching these videos, I love when people are like, I don't even watch these shows. I just watch your reactions to it. Thank you. Whether we agree or disagree on what I have to say or what you guys have to say about, I learn so much from what you guys tell me in the comment sections or your perspective on a show, but I'm just having so much fun over here. I love TV. I love watching TV shows, and to be able to have an entire YouTube channel just dedicated to watching TV shows and talking about it is just, really, it is magic. It is truly magic, and I just want to say thank you. So, okay, let's get into this week's episode. Season 1, episode 4, and it is called Oh My Quad. Oh My Quad. Okay, so when it starts, I feel like you can't even write this shit for this show, okay? First of all, I just want to tell you what my take is on this show. I kind of can't stop watching it, but then there's a fine line for me between, it's so bizarre and weird to me, and I have so many issues with it, but at the same time, I kind of can't look away from it. I have to keep on watching it to find out what's going to happen. It's going to be really interesting to see if the show gets renewed or not, because I feel like there's so many concerns around this show that people are voicing, and it's going to be interesting to me to see what happens, or if they even make it through this season without completely falling apart and leaving each other, because from episode 1, we're only on episode 4, and the show is so messy. The show is one of the messiest shows I've ever watched. None of the people seem to want to be together. Okay, this is my take on it, okay? So you've got Alicia and Tyler that are a married couple that brought in 2 kids into the situation. Then you have Sean and Taya, okay, that are a married couple, and they brought no kids into the situation. They're now all of them together, and there's 3 new kids, 3 boys, that they don't know who the biological father is, okay? Sean and Tyler hate each other. Sean and Tyler fight for attention over Taya, and Alicia doesn't get attention from anybody and really doesn't get along with Taya that much at all. You can tell it's very early days of Sister Wives, when all the Sister Wives were like, yeah, we get along so well, we love each other, and then you find out later that they all hated each other, they all hated Mary, and they all hated Robin. You find that out later. It's you can tell that Alicia and Taya tolerate each other, and they kind of get along for TV, but they don't really like each other. So you have 2 couples, okay, with these kids together that met on a swingers app so they could fuck each other, but really it was just that the men, and I think Alicia's figured this out, that the men just wanted to fuck Taya. I don't know, she must be amazing, baby, in bed or something like that, but the men just want to fuck Taya, okay? And really nobody wants to have an emotional relationship or a physical relationship with Alicia. And I think it's coming clear to Alicia, and it's just kind of sad to watch on that aspect. But then you got these kids mixed up in the middle of it that it's just, I don't know. She's it's what is going on? This show is so messy. So anyway, let's get into it. So when it starts, like I said, you can't write this shit, okay? They are going to the Santa Center. The Santa Claus Center. It's something they do every year where you write your letters to Santa and you go to, see Santa Claus and things like that. They go every year. And I didn't write who said what in here, but one of the guys is saying, I think it's Tyler, that things are better since the men talked. The focus is on the beautiful family that they've built. Okay, the beautiful family that you've built that I just explained, okay, that the men don't get along, the women kind of tolerate each other, and it's all just to fuck Taya. And now Taya is wanting an outside female companion, but it doesn't abide by the rules of the close quad that they make. So really nobody's happy in this relationship, okay? Got it. The beautiful family, as they describe it. Sean said that Tyler could still take all the kids away if they broke up. So Sean's still worried that Tyler could take the kids away. Tyler's still worried that Sean could take the kids away. What's interesting to me about this is that Sean is so concerned, and he says Sean could take all the kids away, which means that Sean believes that biologically all the kids are Tyler's. I don't know why he could have possibly imagined that. It could be that, I mean, they say that they don't know who the biology of the younger boys are. They could have separate biological fathers, except that they look identical and they look like Tyler. So, I mean, listen, they're going to put it on a TV show and I'm going to talk about it, okay? So I'm going to speculate. But I almost kind of feel like, is there something that, like, in the next episode they talk about Sean's vasectomy? Is there something that we don't know, that they all know, that, like, maybe Sean's reversal of his vasectomy didn't work or something? I mean, I think that that's going to come up because they seem to all think that all the kids are Tyler's. I mean, Sean seems so bent out of shape that maybe if they didn't know the biology, then he could kind of like convince himself that he was the biological father. I don't really, to be honest with you, I don't really understand it, okay? I don't understand why it has to be this big mystery. And I said in my last video that I think it's really piss poor parenting, first of all. They don't want to know the DNA makeup of their kids when they can, because it's medically, they should know that stuff in case their kids have to go to the hospital or whatever. Number one, but so their need to not know is standing in their way of good parenting because they're so jealous of each other. So their jealousy and their bitterness is standing in the way of good parenting, okay? And I'm like, well, if you're so worried about who could take the kids, then maybe work on the relationship. Tyler and Sean sat down, and Sean's like, I don't even know why we're working on this. I mean, Sean doesn't want to work on the relationship. If you're so worried about Tyler taking your kids, maybe work a little bit harder on your relationship with Tyler so y'all get along. Because then maybe you wouldn't have to worry about him wanting to leave, okay? Because if he's not pissed off at you, there's really no reason to leave because he's still fucking your wife, okay? So there's really no reason. And we know from this episode that Taya and Tyler's relationship is completely built on fucking, okay? It was very obvious in this episode. So then they're getting a family picture together for Christmas. Sean says that Christmases look a lot different because Sean and Taya were just by themselves before. Now they have all these kids. Taya says that every decision is centered around the kids. And then she asks, right after that, she goes, do you think that Santa has several Mrs. Clauses? Okay, so every decision that you have made about the family is centered around the kids. Was the decision to be on this television show and expose your children without consent, their medical histories, their biological history, was that a decision that was centered around the children's well-being, Taya? That would be the question I would ask you as the mother, okay? Was it you said that all decisions, you said it on the show, all decisions are centered around the children. So when you decided to start your TikTok account, sharing about your polyamorous lifestyle, when you started to, whatever, that's your business, but when you brought your kids into it, it's a completely different story. Was it your children's, was it based around them when you said, I'm going to be on this show and I'm going to make a mockery of their lives and I'm going to share their biological history and show that their fathers are fighting over them? If you want us to buy into this, okay, this whole family that you've built, then what we are seeing is a mother that feels left out, another mother that both fathers want to fuck constantly, okay? 4 parents that can't take care of 5 kids, when some single parents have to take care of 5 kids. Tyler and Taya go away for the night, and Alicia's like, oh my God, 4 is hard enough with 5 kids. With 2 parents here, just Sean and I, we could hardly deal with it. I'm like, there are some parents that are working 2 jobs, standing on their feet all day long, coming home to put dinner on the table and get their kids ready for school the next day, and they have 5 kids and they're single parents. Cry me a river that there's 4 of you, and only 2 of you work, and you can't even get your shit together, okay? But you want us to buy into this, okay, this whole relationship. So if that's the situation, where's the decision-making about the kids in all this, okay? When the moms can't get along, the dads can't get along, nobody can parent the kids, and you're putting this all on camera, where were the kids' decisions about that? Then to follow it up and say, and to make a joke, you want us to believe that this is a family kind of thing, right? And to say, do you think that Santa Claus has several Mrs. Clauses? It's just kind of sick, in all honesty. I mean, it's just kind of, to me, I just was like, you're showing us this sweet moment, okay, of the family at the Santa Claus Center, and then you want to make a joke about the fact that Santa Claus could be polyamorous or wondering about it because you want to normalize it for everybody, okay? Well, we're not watching it because it's normal for everybody. We're watching it because it's not. And you should know that if you watch your own damn show, because every fucking person that they interview on the show thinks it's weird as shit, okay? Your yoga instructor, the person at the candle making shop, the guy that you wanted to share your whole story about that Tyler shared his whole story with his dad at the Santa Center. He's like, no, I wouldn't be in a politician. Not one person do they interview other than Taya's family thinks that this is normal. So we're watching it because we think it's not normal, okay? But you want to normalize it for us and then make a joke about Santa Claus having multiple wives that he's fucking. I mean, what is going on? That to me was just such a weird take. I was like, this is so bizarre. None of these people, none of them are sane. And Alicia's losing her mind over there, and I feel like she just needs to take the kids and get out. So then they're talking to this guy. Tyler's talking to this guy about his relationship. Tyler says the analogy is step-parenting. He wishes they could have it set up differently. Well, set it up differently then, in the relationship. He says step-parents are protected by law. And I didn't really understand this. I mean, I don't know about this. I don't even know about this in my state. But does that mean that, and somebody can educate me or I'll even look it up after this probably. I should have looked it up before this video. But does that mean that, like, if parents get divorced, that the step-parent, even if they haven't adopted a child, has legal rights to that child as a step-parent? When I was growing up, that wasn't the way, but I don't know, maybe the laws have changed. But if that's the case, then why don't you guys just act as step-parents? I don't know, the whole thing is just so bizarre to me. Then it goes, they're back at home, and the kids are rolling around the floor, and they're not doing it. They do this thing called parachute. I don't know. It's with their stuffed animals or something. And they're spending time with kids before bed. They all say this is their favorite time of the day, spending time with the kids. I thought their favorite time was making the kids, not spending time with the kids. But anyway, Alicia says it's possible the two youngest boys aren't biologically related at all. And I'm like, okay, well, I just saw them side by side and they look like twins. So, different moms, they look like twins. Possibility is they have the same dad. I'm just saying, okay? I mean, doesn't take a brain scientist to look at two kids that look identical and they have different moms and go, oh, maybe they have the same dad. I'm just saying, okay? And so then they all talk about this third-party adoptions they want to seek out. And they're talking about in Oregon, the birth mother and the spouse go on the birth certificate no matter the biology, okay? And this is the one thing about like TLC shows that always just kind of like gets me so much is that like they'll say something as fact and then like you'll watch the next episode and that fact changes and they're like, oh really? But then they'll say it as fact. So like if you only watch that far, you'd believe that's fact, right? Okay, so like if Sean and Taya are on the birth certificate for Quentin, then in if they would get divorced or they would leave the quad or whatever, that basically what they're saying is Tyler, if he was the biological father, would have no rights to the child because he's not on the birth certificate. That's Tyler's fear. Well, the lawyer tells him there's no truth to that whatsoever. That DNA would come into it. That all would have to happen is a DNA test would happen and then Tyler absolutely would have rights to that in the court. But we'll get to that in just a second because the lawyer's thing was very interesting to me. The birth mother and the spouse go on the birth certificate no matter what the biology is. If something happened to the kids, then they could be split up or taken away. And they talk about their step-parent rights. Now, one thing I did think was interesting that they brought up in this situation that I hadn't really thought of before, and I think it's Taya that brings it up, or maybe it's Alicia, I don't know, it's one of the mothers, says that it's not necessarily in them just like breaking apart or one parent leaving and taking the kids. If something would happen, like if God forbid one of the people passed or whatever, then the kids could be taken away by like a family member and then the other parents would have no rights to possibly their own biological child. So I do understand it from that point of view. Like that does make sense to me. But then I don't understand why not just, you can't overcome your jealousy and your bitterness. Why not just, I don't know, it's so weird to me. Why not just know the biology and know who the biological parent is? And then the reason they can't do that is because they constantly say they're not jealous, but they are jealous, okay? It's why later in the show, they talk about, that Sean says, that Alicia in the past episode said that Sean will never be her person, that Tyler's her person. And Sean talks about how he would like to spend time with Taya because Taya is his wife and his best friend. So you really aren't in an equal close quad. You're two couples that are still fucking each other is what you are. You're trying to persuade us to believe that this is a equal close quad situation, but it's not at all. And in all honesty, I thought Sean was the one running the show, but Taya is really the one running the show because everybody wants to fuck her. She's the one with the newborn. The men pay all the attention to her. Alicia's the lowest one she's at the bottom. And I think she's fully aware of that. And so the whole situation makes me just very, very sad about the whole, I don't know, it's so weird. But I don't understand why you wouldn't just find out the biology of the child and then, or the children, and then the other people would be the step parents, like you guys are to Tyler and Alicia's kids that they brought in, okay? Which we've already seen that works because on episode 1, the daughter gets grounded for lying, and Sean is the one pushing the punishment, and Tyler walks away. That's the whole argument between Tyler and Sean. So the co-parenting would work even if you knew the biology of the child because that already exists in the family. So it's just bitterness and jealousy is what's leading you to not... It would just be easier for you to know the biology of the children, which I think we're going to find out at some point in this season because it's just so much talk about this. Then they talk about who gets up and who changes the diapers. And they always talk about it's the guys, that Taya never gets up because she's so tired and all this kind of stuff. They talk about going on individual dates, and intimacy has been taking a back seat. Taya doesn't want to be in a romantic situation. She doesn't feel sexy at all. She feels like she's struggling with postpartum. She just does not feel great about herself, which she said in the previous episode that the guys aren't even acknowledging that she's going through this really hard time. Then they do this whole thing where they can't pick who they're going to go on a date with or when. It's so bizarre to me. It's like, you guys have been living this situation for years, and you can't just go, oh, well, I'll go with her, and I'll go with her, and then we'll go on the separate days, and we'll switch and do the next day. So they have to, like, pick numbers, and it's so weird. And then, like, Tyler gets to pick first, and he picks Taya's number, or Taya's name, and he's like, yes, and he, like, smiles at her, and then Sean looks pissed off, and Alicia's just sitting over there. I felt so bad for Alicia. I was like, baby, nobody wants you. Don't you get this? Get the fuck out, Alicia. Nobody wants you. And this is a weird relationship. This is a weird I mean, it's just like, Alicia, get out. You don't have a relationship with any of these people. I mean, it makes me so sad for Alicia, but she's willingly, as a grown adult, choosing to be in this situation. What's weird about it to me is that Alicia also seems to be the only voice of reason in this entire family. But she's the one that I don't see why she can't see her way out of this situation. She needs to leave. So Taya doesn't want to be in this situation, but they fight over it. They play rock, paper, scissors, and there's this whole conversation about Tyler says it wrong. Tyler holds up Taya's name, and Sean gets shitty. He says it's his best friend and his wife. He wants to spend time with her. The guys get up every night with Taya and Quentin, Alicia says, and that they just sleep with her. They just, like, not sleep, like, sexually, but, like, they just go to sleep with her in bed. So she doesn't get really any quality time with them. Alicia says she always wanted to establish a boundary with the men, that she doesn't want to know any of their specifics about their intimacy with Taya whatsoever, and that she's jealous of Tyler's feelings towards Taya. They talk so much about jealousy and bitterness, are in no marriage counseling whatsoever, couples counseling. I don't know how they think they're just going to maneuver this. So it's like, did you just develop this shitty relationship so you can have a TV show? Is that what this is for? I'm confusion. Okay, so then they go to see this attorney about the third-party adoption. Sean is worried that Tyler is the bio dad. And he goes, it's not that I worry about the biology. He just doesn't want to lose his rights. 100% you're fucking jealous of the biology. That's what it is. It's interesting because in one of the episodes, I think it's this first or second episode, they're talking about Tyler's hair. And what's that called? The widow's peak or whatever. And they're talking about how he has a prominent widow's peak. And I thought it was kind of interesting at that time that they brought it up. And, I mean, widow's peak are typically like a genetic, like, you know, passing on genetically. And most times, not always, but sometimes. Let me just clarify that. But if you look, both of the younger boys, is it a widow's bow or widow's peak? I don't know what it's called, but they both have that, which I think is really interesting. And I'm like, did Tyler specifically say that and they put that in the show so that we would be looking for that? And because the two younger boys both have it. And I thought that was really, really interesting. It's like they all know, but they won't talk about it. It's like, why don't you just fucking talk about it? So anyway, so they go see this attorney. They explain the situation to the attorney. She asks about paternity. And they get real upset that she asks about paternity. It's like, she's an attorney. Like, this is what she does. She discusses the legality as presumption of paternity. So when a spouse, it's not that the spouse gets the rights. It's that the spouse of the biological mother is presumed, okay? It's presumed that he would be the biological father, okay? So that's just why he's on it. It's a presumption of a paternity, is what she says, which totally makes sense. But biology could become an issue in case of any kind of divorce or splitting up of this family. There has been no precedent for 4 parents on a birth certificate before, she says. And one would have to give up rights for the other one to have rights. So, for example, Tyler would have to give up his birth certificate biological rights to his 2 previous children so that Tyler could go on the birth certificate. None of them are willing to do this. It's just a fight over ownership of these kids is what it is. It's so disgusting. These children are not products that you own. It's disgusting. The attorney says that any judge would probably say no to their requesting this, and then it would go to the Court of Appeals, which they would say no as well because there's no precedent for it, which then means that it would have to go into changing the law. So what they're really talking about is advocating for changing of the law of quad polyamorous couples to be able to change the law to show that they should all have rights towards the kids. So, baby, I'm just telling you this right now to all 4 of you if you're listening, okay? This show is not your way to get the laws changed, okay? You aren't even changing my opinion, let alone changing legislation, okay? Like, you're not changing my opinion that I think this is good for the children. So if this show is your example of changing laws, okay, so that 4 parents can be on a birth certificate for kids, baby, this ain't the show to do it, okay? You need to get off the show and try to change legislation because this is not it. This is making me actually think it shouldn't happen instead of that it should happen, okay? But then they're going on and they're upset about this, and I'm thinking, well, maybe these are things you should have thought about before y'all started fucking and having kids. Maybe these are things you should have thought about before you, I mean, wouldn't you think that maybe you would consult an attorney before, if you say, Taya said, every decision is centered around the children. Well, when you decide to move in with a couple that you met through a swinging app and you're fucking them every weekend, and you decide to become a family together and bring your children in and parent them together as parents all together, don't you think maybe that would be the minute that you would go consult an attorney if all decisions were made for the children and say, what are our children's rights? What are our rights as 4 parents in the situation? Not maybe wait until you're on a TV show and the dads are fighting over paternity. That might not be the moment, especially if all decisions are made for the children, as Taya says, and the other parents sign off on that, okay? That might have been a decision that you wanted to make years ago. In fact, I would think financially, okay, that you would have wanted to consult an attorney years ago when you moved in together. Because I don't know how ownership of property is going on, division of bills, checking account, savings account. How does all of that apply? How does it split? We haven't heard any of that this season on how any of that's applied. So, I mean, now we're seeing that play out on Sister Wives, you know, with Coyote Pass and the money and Christine getting money. I mean, and child support with Truly Brown and things like that. So why is there no discussion of like, I don't give a fuck about the fighting of Tyler and Sean. Why don't you talk about the splitting of bills when you talk about the splitting of parenting, okay? Because if we could maybe understand how you split bills so effectively and you save money together and set up IRAs and retirement funds together, maybe we could understand how you parent so well together, since that's the idea that you're trying to sell us on. But I'm not sold on it yet, okay? Then they meet up with Taya's family at this Mexican restaurant. Her dad's there. He's really supportive of her. Her parents are so young. I mean, like, her parents are really, I think they're younger than I am. But I'm watching it. It just made me want chips and salsa so bad, baby. I was like, I want some chips and salsa so bad. They talk about the lawyer and how it's a long process no matter what they go through. And I'm like, long process? What are you talking about? The lawyer literally told you that you have to change laws. You have to change legislation. That is not a long process, okay? That is an impossible process. You're not going to change laws. Not anytime in the next 10 years, okay? So and it kind of reminds me of back in the day with like Sister Wives going to Washington and things like that. It's kind of like that whole ordeal all over again. I don't know why I just realized that my camera is going up and down like that. I hope y'all aren't getting seasick, but I apologize. I'll try to fix it. It's probably been doing that for months. Anyway, Alicia is, and I'm like, actually, there's no process unless you change the law, okay? Alicia's afraid that her family could make a case to get guardianship over her kids, and Alicia's crying at dinner because she doesn't have the same relationship with her dad, which at the end of this episode, they show her wanting to reach out to her dad, but Taya and Sean don't want her to have a relationship with her dad because he said they will never be part of their family or something like that. I don't know. All I can tell you is that if that went to court and they showed this TV show in court, it might be a good reason for family members to get guardianship. So I think that Alicia does have a very honest fear in this situation. So now we're back at home again, and it's bath time, and Tyler's giving the kids the bath, and Taya is talking to her friend Lex on the phone, this blonde girl that we've already seen in the previews that she wants to hook up with. And they talk every day. They're both polyamorous. They're both pansexual. And they both have 5 kids. Girl, how'd you meet her like that? I mean, did you put that down? Like, I want somebody that's polyamorous, pansexual, 5 kids, wants to kiss me. Where do you find somebody to make just like such a great friend like that? And it's also interesting to me because, you know, if it's just a friend, all right, if it's just a friend and you're reaching out to this person and you didn't even meet him till after you were in the close quad, the only thing that's different about her is she's pansexual, okay? And the conversation is very flirty with the two of them, very flirty. And then Taya goes on to say something about getting with her. Why would you not take that energy and develop that relationship with Alicia that way? Because Alicia's your partner in this, and she's also polyamorous, and she also has 5 kids. The only thing that's missing is she's not pansexual. So I don't know why you have to develop, I mean, hey, have as many friends as you need to, but you're giving more attention to this woman that's not even in your situation than you're giving to your fellow wife, you know? And then Lex says that she's blushing because they FaceTime every day. It's very flirty, okay? And then the production asks her if she's ever dated, and Taya jokingly says, no, she wishes. And she's like, no, because they met after they were a close quad. Okay, so this is going to be the girl that she wants to hook up with down the road. Then Tyler is taking Taya to the coast for an overnight because that's his romantic date. She deserves something romantic and something special because she just had the baby, I guess. Taya always deserves something special, okay? Taya is the one that gets everything special. Alicia just gets the shit, is what she gets. Sean and Alicia are just staying local the next night. They're not doing anything romantic. They're just doing, even though it's supposed to be romantic, they're just staying local. Tyler asks her if her bags are ready, and she thinks he says vibrator. This is where the show is fucked up, okay? It's like they don't want us to think it's all about sex, but they make all these sexual innuendos. Alicia says she's jealous of Tyler planning a romantic getaway. She's a hopeless romantic, but Tyler never feeds into her being a hopeless romantic. She wishes that he would just take her on those dates, but their relationship is different. So your relationship is not sexual, is what you're saying anymore, Tyler, because Tyler's having sex with Taya, okay? Which to me doesn't seem like a close quad. It seems like agreed to cheating is what it seems to. So is it an open relationship or is it a close quad? I don't understand a lot of these words, so please educate me. Taya wants to be intimate with him, but she doesn't know if she's ready because she doesn't feel sexy. She doesn't feel good about herself. The whole time in the car ride, he's making all these sexual jokes. It's very uncomfortable to watch. It made me uncomfortable to even watch. She doesn't know how to connect with him because they would typically connect sexually. And I'm like, oh, so you don't have a connection with Tyler unless it's sexual? So, okay, but you built your relationship on the foundation of a family with kids. But you don't have a connection with Tyler unless it's sexual. I'm confused. And she talks about how they're on different pages about how the night should go. Then they're at this house, this Airbnb on the coast. It's actually beautiful. I thought the house was really pretty. And so while they're there, Sean and Alicia are taking care of the kids. The kids are going crazy. They said they're outnumbered with 2 parents being gone. And I'm like, you have 5 kids. There's 2 parents, 2 adults, okay? 2 adults, 1 infant, 2 toddlers, and 2 children over the age of like 10. And that's a lot. I understand that. But with 2 parents, it shouldn't be a lot. And like I said, there's a lot of single parents out there with 5 kids doing it all on their own, baby. Sean and Alicia are talking about the attorney. She said she's not willing to accept it. She's going to do more research. Well, God willing and the creek don't rise, baby. You do all the research you want. I don't think you're going to find out anything different. I mean, you paid money to go see an attorney. You know, and they even asked her what she thought about this. And she said, I've never had a polyamorous couples in here before. I don't know what she called it. Couples, quad. I don't know. Sean said he has to trust that Taylor won't take the kids away and that they're just fighting for the same goal. Because it really seems like that to me, that you're all fighting for the same goal. Okay, this is going to stop in just a minute, so hold on a second. Okay, so then we're back at the Airbnb on the coast. Tyler is putting rose petals on the bed. He's got candles. He's got light music. He's got body paint. It's very, very romanticals. And he puts this blindfold on her. She just looks real over it. She's so over it. She's just like, can you just fuck me and we can get this over with? It's just kind of how she looks. She's just not impressed with any of it. And all she keeps on talking about is she's like, my boobs hurt and I'm tired and I'm just not, I don't feel sexy. It's like the men do not acknowledge or recognize that this woman literally had a baby a month ago, that she's struggling with postpartum, that she doesn't feel good about herself. And the only person she's really told is Alicia, who is really sympathetic towards her. But even when she told Alicia, she said, like, the men aren't even aware of the fact that I'm going through this. So then she gets really upset and she goes into the bathroom and he's like, I don't know what I did. I don't know what I did wrong. His smile is so spooky strange, okay? That Tyler, there's something off about the man. I don't know what it is, but it's just, and anyway. So he's like, I don't know what I did wrong. And I'm like, what you did wrong is that your selfish sexual needs were more important than her emotional needs, okay? And as her partner, you don't get that because all you want to do is fuck her, all right? But yet you're selling us a show that is not about fucking, but every person you introduce us to, you introduce by saying, oh, well, we met on a swingers app. I don't know that that's necessary. When I meet people, like when I introduce my husband to a friend of mine, I don't say, oh, this is how we met 17 years ago. I don't know about you, but like if you're out there and you're in a relationship, okay, every time you meet somebody new, is your go-to, you say, hi, this is my wife, Judy, or this is my husband, Steve, and we met at the bowling alley 20 years ago, or we met on Tinder 2 years ago. That's not typically, I don't understand why every situation they meet, they always tell people like, oh, hi, it's nice to meet you at the yoga studio. Oh, this is my wife, my husband, Taya's girlfriend. We're in a close quad. We met on, I don't know why that's necessary. Why you wouldn't just say, this is Taya. You don't even need to explain the rest of it because, baby, they don't care. They don't care. It's shock value for the show, okay? So then she goes in the bathroom and she's crying and he goes in there and then we can hear him because, you know, the mic, but we can't really see him. And he just wants them to spend quality time together. He's like, you don't have to do anything that you don't want to do. And I'm like, She later says that made her feel really good that he said that to her. I don't know. Did anybody else have an issue with that statement? Okay, you're in an adult willing relationship and your partner is saying to you, you don't have to do anything that you don't want to do. I can tell you right now, any relationship that I've been in, if anybody said that to me, I'd say, the fuck, you're right, I don't. I don't know what you're talking about, but you're 100% right. I don't have to do a fucking thing I don't want to do. I mean, I don't even want to go to, well, I'll say it. I mean, it was weird to me. It was so weird that he said it. I was like, what's going on in this relationship, these families that we aren't really seeing, that he would even need to say that to her? And I mean, I understand that it's supposed to be assumed that he just is saying like, oh, well, she feels like I want to have sex, so she's going to have sex with me. But that statement, it's kind of worrisome to me. I don't know. I didn't like that statement. And listen, production put it in there, so we're gonna talk about it. She says she doesn't feel sexy in her postpartum body. He says he doesn't know what's going on with her because you don't ask. Because you don't have conversations with this person that you apparently love so much, okay, that you have children with. You don't talk to her about her feelings and her emotions because all you want to do is fuck her. Because it's literally, when I was watching it, because I'm watching Love After Lockup at the same time, it's like when they get out of prison and all they care about is having sex like right away. It's like I think is it season 4? I don't know, season 6, I think, with Courtney and Will or whatever, and he buys like all these sex toys and lingerie and it's like, you're so sex focused that you're not even talking about the emotional aspect. All you want to do is fuck this woman, which is fine. Okay. I mean, like, that's a part of a relationship. I get it, but it's not the only part of the relationship, you know, and maybe you need to learn that some people want to be romanced in the kitchen so they can fuck you in the bedroom. Okay. It's not always about sex toys and body paint. Sometimes it's about how you make them emotionally feel safe, but you're not asking her how she feels, you know? And I'm like, just listen to her. Then they do this thing where they're throwing marshmallows in the mouth. She says she's really grateful that Tyler gave her the space and the grace. I'm like, okay. And then he says that, you know, anyway, so then they go in the bedroom, they close the door, so you're supposed to assume that they end up having sex. Now they're back at home. It's so weird because Alicia says something like, I wonder when they'll get home. And Sean's on his phone and he goes, they just came into town 7 minutes ago. So he's obviously tracking them. It's not like they text. You can see he's tracking them. So he's tracking Tyler and Taya coming home. So weird. And then Alicia says she forgot how much attention a newborn needs. And Taya says all she needs to do is feel sexy for Tyler to say, all she needs to do to feel sexy is for Tyler to say there's no pressure. Okay, well, that should be a given in any relationship. That there's in any romantic relationship, that there's no pressure. That you should never have to do anything that you don't want to do. That should be a given. The fact that it took Tyler saying to you, no pressure, babe, if you don't want to have sex, we won't have sex, is so problematic at the core of this relationship that the thing that made you feel sexy, because you felt obligated to have sex with Tyler, that the one thing he said to you was, you don't have to do anything you don't want to do, was the thing that made you feel sexy. That is problematic, okay? So anyway, Tyler feels bad for talking about what a good time they had. He says he feels bad. They come in and they're talking about what a good time they had. He goes, I feel so bad about talking about what a good time I had. And then he goes on to talk about what a good time they had. And then he had body paints and all this kind of stuff. And Alicia's just standing there and she's like, I literally fucking set this boundary. I mean, she doesn't say this, but she's like, she's like, I set this boundary. I don't want to know about the intimacy of anybody in this house. And so Tyler goes on and I'm like, he's just an ass. Like, you're just such an ass at this point, you know? And he's talking about the body paint. Alicia says she wishes that he would just stop. Tyler's like, what? What am I doing wrong? What? I fucked her. And then Tyler is just not sensitive to Alicia, like I said, at all. She doesn't want to know the details. Then in this like confessional, she asks him why he thought it would be okay to talk about the sex part when she doesn't want to know, okay? And he says that he talks about it all the time with Sean and Taya, so he didn't realize that he didn't think that Alicia would be upset about it, even though Alicia has set up numerous boundaries with them. And Alicia's like, well, I didn't realize that you and Sean and Taya talk about the sexual aspects of this relationship. And she's like, so apparently I'm out of it. And what she says is that it brings up past feelings of hurt and jealousy at the beginning of the relationship. And she says she's the one person who has a problem with it. So now what it's playing to is, because we know in these shows, right, they only divulge little bits of information. It seems to me that it was both of these men that always wanted to have sex with Taya, and Alicia's just been kind of like, well, bring Taya or Alicia along because, you know, and so it's like, I don't really know how this whole thing started, but it's all about the men wanting to be with Taya. And it almost kind of feels like Alicia agreed to the situation to keep Tyler, is how it seems to me. And then what's going to happen to the family when Taya decides to go off with this woman and explore that? And then the men who are both there for Taya and Alicia, it's like, Alicia, take your kids and leave. Just take your kids and leave. I mean, I put on here, Alicia is collateral damage to two men who just want to be with Taya. I mean, it's literally what it is. And it's so sad to see it unfold on camera. Anyway, let me know what you think about all that in the comment section below. I love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.